ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। In this session, we'll be discussing from two verses, the 11th and the 12th verses of the 16th chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The 11th verse, Swalankritam Shyamaturanga Yojitam Ratham Mrugendra Dhvajam Ashrita Purat Vruto Rathashva Dvipapatti Yuktaya Swasenaya Digvijayaya Nirgataha. The meaning of this verse is, Maharaj Parikshit sat on a chariot drawn by black horses, Shyamaturanga. His flag was marked with the sign of a lion, Mrugendra Dhvajam. Being so decorated and surrounded by charioteers, cavalry, elephants and infantry. Cavalry is soldiers on horseback, infantry is soldiers on foot. And there were warriors or soldiers on chariots and soldiers on elephant back. He left the capital to conquer in all directions. So Parikshit Maharaj is going to root out the symptoms of Kali from his kingdom. When Kali is just trying to infiltrate his kingdom. So that's the description given here. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, Maharaj Parikshit is distinguished from his grandfather Arjuna, for black horses pulled his chariot instead of white horses. You remember the description of Arjuna's chariot being pulled by white horses. Tata shvetair hayair yukte syandane mahati sthitau. This is the description in the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Both Krishna and Arjuna were seated on a chariot, on a great chariot. Mahati syandane. Shveta hayair. Drawn by white horses. And in contrast to that, Maharaj Parikshit was the grandson of Arjuna. His chariot was being pulled by black horses. Shyamaturanga yojitam. Then again, Srila Prabhupada says the distinction between Parikshit's chariot and Arjuna's chariot. Again, one more difference is, Parikshit marked his flag with the mark of a lion, Mrugendra Dhvajam, and his grandfather Arjuna marked his with the mark of Hanumanji, Kapit Dhvajam. Kapi refers to Hanuman. A royal procession like that of Maharaj Parikshit, surrounded by well-decorated chariots, cavalry, elephants, infantry and band, not only is pleasing to the eyes, but also is a sign of a civilization that is aesthetic even on the fighting front. There was a good sense of aesthetics in everything people did in the Vedic culture. Even a royal procession, the king is proceeding to conquer all directions. The emperor is not just a king, he is an emperor. So he is surrounded by beautifully decorated chariots, elephants, infantry. So this is very, very pleasing to the eyes to see. And also this indicates how well prepared he was to actually give protection to the citizens, innocent citizens, or the well-behaved citizens. The 12th verse, Bhadrashvam ketumalam cha bharatam chottaran kurun kim purushadini varshani vijitya jagrihe balim. So these are names of different parts of the earthly planet that Parikshit conquered. So in the translation is as follows. Maharaj Parikshit then conquered all parts of the earthly planet, Bhadrashva, Ketumala, Bharata, the northern Kuru, Kimpurusha, etc., and exacted tributes from their respective rulers. The system was the subordinate kings had to pay a portion of the tax they collected from their citizens to the emperor. So, Maharaj Parikshit went to different parts of his kingdom, that means the whole world, earthly planet, and exacted the taxes from the respective rulers. So, Srila Prabhupada gives a brief description of these different parts that were the parts of the earth as divided during the time of Maharaj Parikshit. So first of all, in the purport, he describes Bhadrashva Varsha. It is a tract of land near Meru Parvata and it extends from Gandhamadana Parvata to the saltwater ocean. There is a description of this Varsha in the Mahabharata, in the Bhishma Parva, 7th chapter, verses 14 to 18. Mahabharata is the history of Greater India. So it is called Itihasa. It is compiled by Vyasadeva. So Srila Prabhupada is quoting from this that this Bhadrashva Varsha is described in this particular portion of the Mahabharata. The description was narrated by Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra about this Bhadrashva Varsha. Maharaj Yudhishthira also conquered this Varsha, and thus the province was included within the jurisdiction of his empire. Maharaj Parikshit was formally declared to be the emperor of all lands ruled by his grandfather, but still he had to establish his supremacy while he was out of his capital to exact tribute from such states. The king is not simply a namesake king. He has got his power to rule, and he challenges the subordinate kings. If they accept his supremacy, then there is no fighting. Otherwise, there is a battle fought between the two kings, and whoever is victorious becomes the ruler. Ketumala Varsha, another part of his kingdom. This earth planet is divided into 7 dvipas by 7 oceans, and the central dvipa called Jambu Dvipa is divided into 9 varshas or parts by 8 huge mountains. See, the whole earth planet, even as we know it today, there are so many oceans: Pacific Ocean, Indian Ocean, and Atlantic Ocean, like that. So there are 7 oceans dividing the earth planet into 7 islands. The land mass between 2 oceans or surrounded by water is called a island, Dvipa. So Saptva Dvipa Vasundhara. This is a description in the Mahabharata. The earth planet is divided into 7 islands, and the central island is called Jambu Dvipa. Dvipa means island. Jambu Dvipa. And this Jambu Dvipa, the central part, central island, is divided into 9 varshas or 9 parts called varshas, Dvipa and Varsha. So the names here, Ketumala Varsha, Bhadrashva Varsha, and Bharata Varsha, Ilavrata Varsha, Kim Purusha Varsha, like that. There are 9 Varshas, 9 divisions. And how are these 9 divisions made in the central island, in the Jambudvipa? By 8 huge mountains separating some tracts of land. 8 huge mountains. So, Bharat Varsha is one of the above mentioned 9 Varshas, and Ketumala is also described as one of the above Varshas. It is said in the Mahabharata that in Ketumala Varsha, women are the most beautiful. This Varsha was conquered by Arjuna also. A description of this Varsha or this part of the world is available in the Mahabharata in Sabha Parva 28 chapter 6th verse. So Prabhupada gives a reference also. Somebody is interested in the details of the description of this Varsha can refer Mahabharata, that particular portion. Further, Srila Prabhupada says, it is said that this part of the world is situated on the western side of Meru Parvata, and inhabitants of this province used to live up to 10,000 years, as per the reference in the Mahabharata Bhishma Parva 6th chapter 31st verse. Human beings living in this part of the globe are of golden color, and the women resemble the angels of heaven. The inhabitants are free from all kinds of diseases and grief. This is the description in the Mahabharata. Next is Bharata Varsha. This part of the world is also one of the 9 Varshas of Jambudvipa, Bharata Varsha. A description of Bharata Varsha is given in the Mahabharata, Bhishma Parva, chapters 9 and 10. In the center of Jambudvipa is Ilavrata Varsha, and south of Ilavrata Varsha is Hari Varsha. The description of these Varshas is given in the Mahabharata Sabha Parva 28 chapter verses 7 and 8. That Prabhupada quotes here. It is mentioned here that the women in both these Varshas are beautiful, and some of them are equal to the Apsaras or heavenly women. That's the description in the Mahabharata. Next, Srila Prabhupada describes Uttara Kuru Varsha. According to Vedic geography, the northernmost portion of Jambudvipa is called Uttara Kuru Varsha. Uttara means north. It is surrounded by the saltwater ocean from 3 sides and divided by Shringavan mountain from the Hiranmaya Varsha. That's a description in the Mahabharata. Next, Kim Purusha Varsha is stated to be situated north of the great Himalayan mountain, which is 80,000 miles in length and height, and which covers 16,000 miles in width, the Himalayan mountain. These parts of the world were also conquered by Arjuna, as described in Mahabharata Sabha Parva, chapter 28, verses 1 and 2. The Kim Purushas are descendants of a daughter of Daksha. When Maharaj Yudhishthira performed a horse sacrifice, the inhabitants of these countries were also present to take part in the festival, and they paid tributes to the emperor Yudhishthira. This part of the world is called Kim Purusha Varsha, or sometimes the Himalayan provinces. It is said that Shukadeva Goswami is born in these Himalayan provinces, and that he came to Bharat Varsha after crossing the Himalayan countries. So, to summarize this whole thing, Srila Prabhupada says, in other words, Maharaj Parikshit conquered all the world, all the different parts of the world. He conquered all the continents adjoining all the seas and oceans in all directions, namely the eastern, western, northern and southern parts of the world. So all the Dvipas, and in the central Jambudvipa, all the Varshas. He conquered all the parts and became the emperor of the entire, and actually he exacted the taxes from all the rulers of these different provinces. I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.